Oil prices were spiking on where these attacks. They get back some of the gains, but you know the drill. When people are getting concerned about, some complication in the Middle East, this is what happens. To market watcher Scott Martin, what he makes of this. Scott, what next?
Probably higher prices, Neil, until you discussed, as it was, about figuring out what really happened here and what Iran, let's say, whoever's behind this is after and what they're doing. Because let's face it, Neil, we saw markets bid up oil prices pretty precipitously today. They came off a bit towards the end of the day, of course, but that's going to influence prices of the pump because demand, let's face it, with the economy doing so well, is up since Memorial Day weekend year over year. We have a lot of folks flying this summer as well. That's going to drive up cost, of course, and seeing as how we have things unsettled, let's say, in the Strait of Hormuz, that's probably going to push up price too.
We also have the ongoing escalation of protests in Hong Kong. If you're looking for stuff that will rattle markets, typically the commodity markets like oil and all that, you have plenty of ammunition, don't you?
You do, and you also have the fact that we have seasonality at play here, my friend, and we've got this very tasty summer blend now of gasoline out there for the summer driving season, just in time for us to spend a little bit more on the pump. So to me, it's one of those things that are many factors going on. You mentioned Hong Kong. Also, we have G20 coming up. Sure. A lot of uncertainty out there that's pushing around the commodity prices right behind me.
There's always been a tug of war on, oil and all of that because the supply and demand equation still looks kind of iffy for oil advancing much further because of fears of a global slowdown, trade getting in the way, the Federal Reserve being accommodative, I guess, if things hit the fan, that it's going to put a lid on energy prices. What do you think?
There's probably a lid, but the lid is probably higher. I mean, we're probably only, say, 3/4 of the way up in the glass, so to speak, or in the container, because as we've seen, it's gone up before, Neil, on these fears. And yes, I agree with you. The good news is the Permian Basin is now, yes, my friends, the world's largest oil producer, so that's good. But we still have millions of barrels of oil per day tied to the Strait of Hormuz. So if there's any instability there, that obviously is pushing up price. And you know as well as I do, markets react first, and ask questions later, and that's what we're seeing happen right now.
All right, interest rates are still surprisingly low in this environment. It's not getting people overly rattled. I guess that depends on if there's an escalation, right?
Yeah, it does. But I'll tell you, interest rates being this low for so long and continuing to go lower is a little bit of a concern. The bond market, in my opinion, still, even though they may be a little bit wrong this time, is still the smartest money out there. They're telling us something. That's not just rates here also, my friends. It's rates overseas where we have negative rates in many developed countries now. We may be heading that way as well, at least towards lower levels.
All right. Thank you, my friend, very, very much. That's Scott Martin following these developments. Also want to give you